Hey guys, CoolCheese here, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. In today's Destiny video, we are going to be revisiting a topic I made a video on last season, and that is the comparison between the Multimach and the Shayura's Wrath SMGs. Last season, what ended up being the deciding factor for me was the Deadman's Tale Exotic Scout Rifle. Deadman's Tale at the time was incredibly easy to use, had a 0.8 TTK, and had nearly infinite range. Since then, that weapon is still great, but it has received nerfs to the point where it's not as pressing into this conversation. To recap, let's cover the strengths of the Multimach. The Multimach is the only current non-sunset lightweight SMG to have scope options and a very high range stat via perks like Iron Reach. Multimach allows you to move very fast via the lightweight bonus while simultaneously being extremely lethal with a 0.67 TTK. With perks like Killing Wind and Iron Reach, this weapon performs past the previous benchmark for lightweight SMGs. Onto the cons, the Multimach has a very unforgiving headshot body shot ratio, as well as if you are landing bodies, the TTK is incredibly slow, slower than most scout rifles. Because of this lack of forgiveness with respect to headshots, it cannot perform much past its effective range, unlike other SMGs, which hard caps it at around 26 meters. Going to Shayura's Wrath, since it is a 600 RPM SMG, has a 0.8 TTK, which is on the slower side, but by no means is bad, and has a massive range stat by default. This massive range stat allows you to invest in perks like Kill Clip without the fear of missing out on consistency. Shayura's has the range to duel most primaries, and with Kill Clip has that lightning fast SMG TTK that the archetype is known for. There are no real cons of this weapon other than just not having the strengths of, let's say, the lightweight bonus or the faster TTK on other SMG archetypes, which is part of the reason why this sub is so strong. Sure, it might not quite be as lethal as its competitors, but the consistency and the base range that allows for perks like Kill Clip at no cost is incredibly powerful. The core of the comparison between these two weapons is the Multimach is much more lethal, but requires you to maintain much more pressure and aggression throughout a match, whereas the Shayura's Wrath is more consistent, but will leave you hanging in times where you need that 0.67 TTK. And when we apply this to Destiny 2 Season of the Lost PvP, I think that consistency is a little bit more valuable. Last season, I thought that Multimach was a great option to outduel Deadman's Tale specifically, and so it was awesome to be able to have that lethality to TTK both Deadman's Tale and 120s pretty consistently, but in this sandbox, with both of those weapon archetypes not being quite as popular, the Multimach just doesn't seem as competitive as it was last season. When you combine Deadman's Tale and 120 usage going down with the addition of things like stag rifts, it is very hard to warrant using this weapon that requires you to hit a lot of headshots with very little room for error. And just off that, I feel like the Shayura's Wrath is the better pick. The matchups that Shayura's has to duel in this sandbox are exactly the same, if not better, because one of the main weaknesses of the weapon was Deadman's Tale, and with that at least a little bit out of the picture, Shayura's has a time to shine. However, this season has also opened the doors for another alternative. Since people are playing a lot more passive, they're not committing to fights, there is the perfect SMG for that job, and that is the Terabyte Exotic Smg. Terabyte at base is just a regular SMG. It's nothing crazy like the Multimach or Shayura's, but it's nothing terrible like the stochastic variable. It has 16 zoom, it's got like a 60 range stat. It's pretty solid. But when you combine that with something like Ravenous Beast, it's a little silly, I would say. Terabyte is one of those guns that if a team is not committing to kill you with their special weapons or flying in with their hand cannons, you just get rewarded for them being passive, which is a godsend in this sandbox. How many times have you looked at a Stag Warlock, thought you had nothing to do, and you just get hit by Arc Souls? Well, with the Terabyte, those hits that you're getting from the Arc Soul and that little bit of damage you are doing to the Warlock charge up a god gun that you can completely obliterate not only them, but their entire team. In my opinion, the Terabyte takes the style of the Multimach but carries it into this season where the Multimach cannot. My final verdict is that Shayura's Wrath is the most effective SMG in this sandbox. It's always been the best SMG in the game, but it didn't have the sandbox to allow it to thrive. Now it does. I think Terabyte is a close second in this sandbox, and Multimach a very close third as well. You will have fun with all three of them, I promise. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate you hitting the like button. And if you'd like to check me out on Twitch, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/CoolCheese. Finally, if you're in the market for an energy drink, go to the description. Advance.gg is one of my sponsors. They make a very good product, and you can use code CHEESE at checkout for 10% off. Anyways, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your night.